We'll see where it lands because, of course, Strive can play it as well. So it's a pretty strong flex here for RA.
Yeah, this is a big flex early as well because now you're kind of putting UCal on a second thought here. Figure out what he's going to do if it's going to be a Jace mid. He goes for something a little bit more technical there, but now TT setting themselves up with their first picks in the game. They will have counter pick at the end of things here, but first and foremost should be that facilitation for Beichuan, or maybe a little flexibility for Sejuani, but I expect Beichuan to be on that pick.
You know, I wonder if TT are going to go towards, not here, but maybe at R3, the Yone, and then hold on to it as a flex. No, they're going to go towards Gragas. So set Gragas on the top side for now. They could still technically do it, but you want to know where the Jace is going first.
How does the Gragas do into Jace?
Yeah, it's pretty alright. It doesn't really hard lose. It doesn't necessarily hard win either. It's kind of just a matchup where Gragas can technically should in theory have more resource, but you as the Jace have, you know, more poke, more lane priority once a couple of levels start to fly under your belt. And of course, you know, the burst damage that you have available to you makes you kind of oppressive. RA, considering just the full topside lock-in, and I wouldn't mind it to be honest with you, but I think the Varus still up. You want to take that away from TT. You don't want to let them have Varus, Sejuani, and Gragas, because then you're looking at a really, really strong team fighting competition in the mid game, where the answers will likely be very limited. And I'd like to see this one taken away, but they will hop back over to that K'Sante hover and they will lock it in. So TT, if they want it, they can match the poke, but I feel like this also just makes a whole bunch of sense. Now that you see the full top side, you've got the Sejuani, the Gragas now has its confirmed matchup into K'Sante in the top side. Now you've got a really powerful 2v2 in the mid jungle, which realistically you should be winning as soon as you tick over to that Glacial Prison plus the Fate Sealed. It's too powerful to deal with if you're Jace and Maokai, so TT should have that one from the jump already locked and loaded and ready to move towards the side lanes.
And I think that seeing this kind of opt-in for TT is a big thing. We've obviously seen UCal do so well with the Yone, but now especially with this kind of composition, a lot of setup around him as well. And I'm waiting to see what they grab with their last couple picks, obviously. But we're getting to the second phase of bans here, and we get the assumed focus of the Draven. We'll see what RA are looking at.
Yeah, I mean, if it's RA, you've got to be thinking about a couple of these poke picks, Ziggs being one of them, when you've got you know, technically not a whole bunch of magic damage from the top side, right? Sejuani's kind of like 50-50-ish. People forget. People kind of classify Sejuani as AP because of, you know, old Sejuani, which used to do a whole buttload of magic damage. But, you know, think about the W, which is the majority of her damage, and the passive. It's a pretty solid like 50-50. Yone is also, of course, the AD. Gragas will do what he does with the magic. So I feel like TT might be alright to just go towards the traditional AD. Point is, I feel like the Ziggs ban makes sense, but maybe you don't really need it, as TT will continue to move away, assumes really powerful lane bullies here as the Caitlyn hits the bench, and so does the Varus.
We're just getting all the focus on bottom side.
Yeah, I feel like Aphelios, Zeri, those are the big picks that are still up and available. It kind of depends on what you would rather have on your side, to be honest with you. There could also... no, I feel like just those two AD carries for now are sort of tip of my tongue. Ezreal as well could be pretty powerful in terms of getting away from some of this hard engage if you're RA, so that could be something that Asub looks towards on this next pick. But for now, it's TT with the first priority. Zeri? Zeri, who would have thought?
You know, out of left field comes Zeri. No, it's just the late game insurance policy here for TT. But speaking of, we got the late game, at least for Assume on the Xayah, but the combo, the lovers duo down there for RA.
Yeah, and it seems like it's just going to get matched by Lulu most likely. And, you know, I've been having a lot of conversations with Orcs recently, not only about Xayah, but also about Xayah Rakan as a whole. And Xayah, I feel like, at least in Europe, we've been seeing a bit of a trend kind of behind the scenes. Obviously it's off season in the LEC, but seeing a lot of like high priority on Xayah behind the scenes, it feels like, to the point where it's almost pick ban. And I'm just like, why? It kind of gets bullied out by a lot of picks, but the Rakan as well, blind. Of course, you got the lovers duo, and that 2v2 is going to be very powerful, but into Lulu's area, if you can't abuse, you know, the level 1 in particular, the lane might just start to get a little bit rough, right? You might start to get poked out quite a bit. So RA are going to have to do something to alleviate some of that pressure after the first couple of levels. Yeah. And hopefully for them, they'll be able to snowball, because Xayah into a dive comp like what LG and RNG a huge favor by keeping RA as uncompetitive as possible in that playoffs race. They'll be playing after these two teams, of course, in the second series of the day. We're here for the second game of the day as the gyros ring out.
See if we get any more of those in the end, but nothing else going to come of it. And another big focus that we had brought into this one was kind of the fact that both these teams love first blood. At about a 70% rate there for TT, where they did get first blood last game as well. And RA, we're sitting at about 65% coming into this one. So we'll see where they strike first. But I expect, again, a lot of focus to be from these jungle positions. Beichuan on the Sejuani. A lot of possibilities here to focus, kind of like what Luyen was doing last game on the Gragas, and just really be a nuisance around the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Set up as well. As we said, natural synergy with the solo laners could draw Beichuan towards the top side, but let's be real, you have a Zeri Lulu on the bottom side. You don't want that falling behind. And we'll see whether or not BKR and Assume can try and take advantage of the level 1. Very powerful level 1, but Q start here for Assume says to me that likely hard happening here at level 1, and they will just back away from one another.
We have to also go back to the fact PKR, this is the first series in the LPL, coming in here trying to change things up for RA and try to duo up with Assume down there. Now the Lovers duo maybe just building that inherent synergy, but this guy was coming up from RA period squad, right? The LDL squad for RA, and he is that primary engage player, as are all supports, it feels like, in the LPL. But we got to see a little bit of that variation from him in game 1. Now we get that setup and focus from the entire team on both sides on bottom lane, as Luyen will show first. Beichuan is hiding away. The saplings come through. It goes through the middle, though. Splits the uprights. The grand entrance was huge, but Assume is going to go so low. Who's going to get first blood? Yao Yao is getting low. No! It goes over to TT! And Beichuan is on the board!
It's a perfect read from Beichuan. He just knows Leon is going to go for a 3-camp bottom side gank. Who would have guessed in a meta like this where bottom lane is so important and you have to try and break up the poke that would likely come from a Zeri and a Lulu into a very weak level 1 if you don't abuse it. Beichuan just reads the situation perfectly. It's just really smart.
Don't look at the first part. This part, don't worry about it.
Happens, you know, absolutely happens, but BKR evacuates, has to sort of back up to try and body block for Assume, and here on the bottom side you can just see Yao Yao. One more auto attack, would have done it. Permafrost stacks up, stun comes through, and that's just... Huh? Well...
We're just saying hello to each other, you know. We're nice neighbors here, Jamada. I don't know what you do with your neighbors. Like, are you just mean to them?
No, I have a bunch of old people as my neighbors. So
well, I really hope you're not mean to them.
Yeah, no. I'll respect your elders.
You're not like Luyen and Beichuan. Okay, as long as we know that, then that's fine. We will look back towards this connection, though, as we see them be together once again. I definitely want to see Beichuan return to UCal in the mid lane as much as possible, but he might just die as he almost gets taken out by Strive.
Yeah, I think he might have not had enough mana for an E in the middle of that combo. Because I think even if you buffer it and a channel starts, even if you flash, you will get knocked back. So, I've got to say, UCal's quite fortunate to walk away with his life there. He was 4 mana short.
Oof.
Mazel, he was 4 mana short. It's 55 mana to cast the stream on the actual stream on my album monitor for instant replay necessary moments like that. 4 mana short, so Strive always finds himself solo kill.
That's unfortunato. But Strive trying to get as much as possible, right? Picking the first pick, Jace. A little bit of flexibility there in the draft, but now knowing that it will be against UCal and trying to find his own right? And we were talking about BKR being the call-up from RA period. Well, Strive is a call-up from RA period as well back in 2021 and continues to try to work towards this connection with Luyen.
See what they can find. I mean, Flashless Yone does mean that he can be picked on a little bit, but once the level 6 comes online, it's just going to get really obnoxious. Simply because, one, obviously you can use the ultimate to, you know, run away, but the other big factor is if he can buy enough time with the CC for Beichuan to slip in and then start stacking up Permafrost, or level 6 is there so he can just make the turn even more deadly, it gets quite frustrating quite annoying to deal with. Level 6 is hit here for Yukao, and like clockwork, H1 hovering around the mid lane, but so is Leon here to just ensure that there is no immediate play on the mid side.
Now we did see some early stacking of dragons last time around. Yeah, somewhat early stacking, but this time it feels like both teams much more relying on some reservation around those objectives and more so focusing lanes. Loyen tries to get a Hex Flash play in the mid lane, but can't get it onto Yukao. Beituan is here now. It doesn't have ulti, but Yukao does.
Yukao does. No triggers are pulled though. Except for this one for the trade.
Every time Beituan walks away, Strive's like, nope, your jungler's got it, got you.
I want that burst damage. I mean, Jace is going to be really pivotal. Strive needs to have a lead in this game, in my mind, to kind of maybe hit Eclipse first, be a bit of a bridge for the rest of the team. You can already see the burst damage that's available to the Jace, but I feel like the poke in general onto a champion like Zeri, trying to shut her down before she can even get going in a team fight could be huge. As this goes over Beituan.
There's some big CS differentials coming out for RA right now, but that one kill helping keep TT into it here. A little bit of back and forth at bottom lane. It's just a constant 3v3, it feels like.
No one wants to give anyone an inch in the bottom side. The CS close enough to even. Maybe Huanfeng will extend his lead here with a couple of creeps that are being pushed in, but like you say, incremental on the bottom side, but in the solo lanes, that's where the leads are starting to amass for RA at the moment. But the overall goal doesn't actually lie in TT's favor for now. I feel like we're going to have a very, very slow... Am I about to cast curse it? No.
Do it. Cast the curse it. Do it.
We're about to have a very slow game in the cell. We're already 8 minutes in with one kill.
It's not like yes. It's all part of the plan.
Walk through the mid lane. Don't
crazy is our game. Crazy is our game. Crazy is our game. Just say it 3 times and all of a sudden something happens. That's not how that works. But you know, I got my Let's Fight LPL Night button pressing. It's right next to my Start the Game caster button.
Oh yeah,
we do.
Every play-by-play has one of those, right?
Yeah, of course. And we get it shipped to us. I wish, man. I wish the sudden defeat in my heart hurts.
It's every play-by-play in Pedro who gets the
there you go, just the extra give it over. But I do want to look at the objectives. We didn't see any early stacking of dragons. We do see some priority given by RA around this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and they will start up. Of course, Maokai nerfed on this patch, but still does, you know, kind of the exact same thing in terms of the objective control. And TT just not willing to fight this one. I think the fact that BKR also has Ulna as well kind of just makes it a little bit awkward to approach. Grand Entrance.
Should be Dragon.
Yeah, they'll cross map for Dragon, but still RA, I feel like to them, they want the gold more than they want an early Dragon right now to get to the Iron Spike sooner. So in their case, I think they'll uptrade or take this trade rather, not necessarily uptrade. With a smile on their face, and see where they can drop this Herald, likely for Assume to try and get him into a commanding lead as Hello.
Oh! Nice little dodge out there. The Grand Entrance, though, from Huanfeng. We just really wanted that turret plate there. Getting very close to getting it. We saw him have an incredible game on the Zeri last game. And now will be that Dragon finally going over to TT. Maybe some rekindling of the flame between Loyen and Beituan here in the mid lane. No, we don't need to look at the noodle fight top lane.
We don't. Oh, hello.
Oh, place of prison. Yeah. Beta seal. Oh my god, they have the damage. Loyen gets out with an ice flash though. Should be a safety done by RA, but that is the quick pull of the trigger that can happen from TT's perspective.
Yeah, and I mean, if Loyen doesn't have his flash available, he'll probably die. Next time that combination comes through, it'll likely be the case. And actually, speaking of survivability, I do want to touch on Loyen's build at the moment. So he's got the Bammies. Since the nerfs to AP Maokai, whenever Maokai does actually get picked, the typical trend at the moment is actually just to go tank. Sunfire,
yeah. No more AP.
Radiant Virtue, typically not unless...
No more half-health saplings?
No, you might see like a demonic embrace at most, if, you know, the game kind of fits it. This wouldn't be a bad game for it, but yeah, other than that, it feels like the trend is kind of moving a little bit more, and a lot more actually, to AP, just because, to tank, just because of the way the numbers got shifted around, so that AP was a little bit weaker, whereas tank kind of remains the same in strength, as Q3 was proc there for Yukao. Very clever attempt from Lien, but...
Oh my god, he's just sidestepping everything over here. Yukao healed himself a little bit in the mid lane. Now, Rift Herald did get spawned. We also have an item completion on the board. Gale Force for Assume. Cube has also finished the Jack Show. That charge got off. A little bit of damage on mid lane for RA.
Yeah, I don't think Strive got the gold there. It looked like it all went into Lien, unless it's just an animation bug, you know, but here's a play.
Here they come. He has the Q3 again. Oh, Lien is on a magical journey here. Great entrance in, and Yukao, he'll still go down. Beautifully tanked by RA, and they get their first kill of the game.
Yeah, really clever from Yukao. I will give him credit, trying to bring Lien as far back underneath the tower as he can, but unfortunately the burst damage eventually comes through, and disengage has come out between the dashes, between the flashes.
Oh, he's like, I bring you under the tower too.
I'll do it. But still, Hoya's gonna have to base. He's got teleport, so not the end of the world, but that top side has just been a wet noodle fight all game long. Take a look at this play though, as you see the Hex Flash comes out, dash, dash, and as soon as Lien starts to Twisted Advance, Yukao just goes, yeah, I'm gonna just bring you all the way here. The fortunate thing for RA is that because when you're in Twisted Advance, you're not technically targetable, the tower aggro actually draws onto BKR.
Yeah.
So he's tanking it from the get-go. So it doesn't
really good heads-up stuff from the newest piece of RA, honestly, to be able to be in that position like that. And this Rakan starting to feel real good for RA, being able to be around the map and be influential. Now, we did get a little bit of that from BKR last game on the Ashe, but now it feels a little bit more confidence-filled.
Yeah, and he's going to have to keep that confidence up as well. This game isn't the easiest to navigate a Rakan pick. Gragas, Sejuani, Lulu as well, they can all interrupt your engages in this game, so he's going to have to get maybe a little bit creative with some flank angles, even. But still, so far, opening out. I think despite the first game not going his way, had a pretty decent showing on the Ashe, and so far, opening game number 2 out in the same team.
The Fate Sealed combo plus the Glacial Prison is available, but now we're looking at top side. Beituan has showed up, all out used. They should get the CC lockdown. Look at that chain! And Hoya picks up the kill.
Poor guy just got to move Permafrost into Glacial Prison, double stun.
Well, he's got a big belly, right? Can't move in front of a big belly.
Yeah, the big belly, just to top things off. Really nice stuff. From
imagine being in a mosh pit with a giant pig and a guy with a big old keg and a big belly. I don't feel like you're winning that one.
No, I don't think you are either. Massive ball. And you know, I feel like people often forget like how big that boar is. That's a grown adult on that thing.
It is. Yeah. But then you also look at him at this next to Gragas. You're like, Gragas is the size of both of them. It's like, okay, well, that's a big guy.
Exactly. Now TT, they picked up the first dragon, and I think it was the exact same in game. No, it was RA that picked up the dragon in game number 1 first. So let's see if TT can actually get the second one and get a snowball.
Strive just wants to hit an accelerated shock blast. Like I want to see it. He got the Eclipse now. He just wants to get the dopamine rush of the damage numbers, but Yukao keeps sidestepping him.
Wants the damage check, right? That's what it is always. Probably just going to clear the wave here. But at that one item, like you said, the Eclipse already. Assume also has the Gale Force, had it for a couple of minutes now. RA could feasibly fight this. They just don't necessarily have the position. I feel like the champions on the enemy's side, on TT side, they're a bit too strong, so maybe you just don't want to go for a hard commit. Seems to be the case. They'll give him the dragon.
The thing is, the thing is, Huanfeng, like that's a little bit of the power of this area in this position on red side. He can join with a hop skip over the wall. Oh god, there's that combo though. We said, oh, Yukao's a little bit caught out. Wild Growth comes through. We do got Yao Yao rejoining the fight. Yukao did survive after that trigger pull. Now in the under tower, you have no team, BKR, as he is able to survive by the skin of his teeth.
Skin of his teeth. He feels that one. But flash out, that's what it will cost. And I mean, Beituan just really heads up play to actually know he has the potential damage threat for that, right? Breaks the first part of passive 2. Nice burst damage, and indeed, Assume gonna be in danger here. It's gonna get a fair amount of crux. looking too bad, but Hong Kong's going to get this tower. And that's going to be a whole bunch of gold.
Should be a tower going to TT. Won't be the first tower as it did go to RA already. But still that side lane pressure, meaning that Hwanfeng is unlocked. Go around the map. And we see that Rift Herald actually number 2 going over to RA.
Yeah. Prior has been quite clear from both these sides. Heralds go over to RA. Dragons going over to TT. As it starts off with this cask. Turbo body slam sets up real nice with the face sealed, but you can see the knockback comes through and forces Yucal to disengage. And right here, really nice. W procs the E. W hits E, break the passive with your ult. That's the only way you can get a double proc of your passive as Sejuani. But BKR just about has enough health to survive as Herald. It actually does get the charge. Oh no.
Good stuff for RA though, utilizing that second Rift Herald, get the charge at mid lane, get the tower, and a second charge on the tier 2. Hwanfeng has taken primary position mid lane, trying to defend now. And resets actually coming out from RA. Now moving into the map next, we're looking at 2 item spikes coming across very soon. No Dragon up for 30 minutes. No Baron for 3 minutes. A little bit of lull, but it's about where RA can try to set some advantage because it feels like there is still this looming threat of Hwanfeng and Yucal on the side of TT.
Yeah, definitely. And even though RA temporarily have the gold advantage, it does feel like TT are the ones in the driver's seat of this game right now. They're the ones who have had the plays that looked a little bit more threatening, right? I feel like RA only really found that pick on Yucal, and besides that, they've kind of been watching the game go by a little bit. So now that the items are starting to crest in, right? Strive going to be approaching 2 items really, really soon. And Assume is so close to 2. He might have it now. Look at the components. He's 200 CS almost. He based second item.
Yeah, what the back is for. There's the Navori's. But look, they've already pounced on bot side. There's that combo yet again. And Strive should go down triple knock up there for the wild growth. And he goes right back in. Yao Yao's the one that gets the first one. And then it's Yucal who's cleaning up the next double kill to the support of TT. But it's TT who's running away with this one.
Who cares about Navori quick blades if you're not there to use them? TT just pouts, like you say, immediate engage on the bottom side. And Yucal goes huge triple man knock up. It's so hard still with that level of CC when you don't have the damage yet to return it in kind from RA's side. Imagine if Assume is there, even without the Navori's, and he's just able to get a couple of wars, attacks out, get the Featherstorm out. TT can't approach properly, but they'll just get the tier 2 off the back of this play because they're able to kill everyone on RA before they're ready to actually fight.
Oh my god, I can't believe we're just seeing a tier 2 fall here just like that. We're gonna get a replay of this one. A beautiful flank on the backside.
Yeah, really well played. They immediately jump onto Strive. They take him out of the fight. Knock up from Yao Yao actually onto all members there. Into a 3-man knock up from Yucal. Into Hoya showing up. It's just a pinball machine that RA are the unfortunate victims of. And TT, they take the lead in the gold department. At the very least, equalize it out. It's only really a 400-ish gold difference for now. But still, we were saying they were in the driver's seat before that play. Now it really does feel like they can continue to snowball and look for some more plays like that.
Now we're looking at a timer here for RA as a 3rd dragon spawning in about 35 seconds. TT definitely want that one. It's calling their name, if you will. They'll need to push out mid lane and stop this potential pick setup from RA before they can, though.
Yeah. RA can very easily find a couple of members, and face checking into Jace, into Maokai, and having to walk forward into Xayah is a scary prospect. But if TT can break up that play pattern even slightly, things might fall apart quite quickly. Hwanfeng actually picked up a DD in base, and hey, Yucal could be really close to the Infinity Edge. Takes that tower, picks up the wave, he's got teleport. If he looks to report, then TP could very much have it, but they're pressing, so they're trying to make RA force a decision here. And then have Yucal
They're just getting more gold to Yucal.
Yeah, exactly. This is really, really nice for TT. The longest dragon doesn't go down.
Oh my god, it takes so long.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not the EP Maokai anymore. That's the difference.
Yeah, TT have to know it's happening, right? But I think they're happy to take this trade if it means that IE is completed for Yucal. You can go back to base, and then they can just fight in front of the Baron. Honestly, it might seem a little bit, you know, like a question mark, a bit of a head scratcher at first, but if that's the thought process and they can find a really good fight now with the spikes
Oh,
Yone.
yes.
Or
Keep the carousel turning.
RA don't know. Wait, RA don't know. Because
They have no idea. There's literally not a ping for
They don't
1,000
know.
miles here. And TT, they pulled off the Thunder Talk heist. And that's a Baron at 21 minutes.
dude, this is so smart. This is like, how do I even explain this? TT basically just kind of make a bluff to RA that they're handshaking a recall. Because Yukao dips into Fog of War, he got all of that gold. You're thinking, you know what? Yukao has to go back to base and spend that gold. So there's no way TT are making a play. They're just doing Baron. No big deal. Really, really smart from TT. And RA just kind of caught sleeping at the wheel. Excellent macro from TT.
Yeah, and now TT gets to complete a bunch of items, right? You got a Bloodthirster now complete for Yukao. He actually has a Chain Vest on top of that. The Radiant Virtue also had been completed for Beichuan, but it's really looking at Yukao and Huanfeng to hit those 3 items now, and now utilize this 2-item spike as well.
Yeah, 2-item spike available. It's actually Bloodthirst that ends up being picked up here for Yukao, but I feel like it makes a whole bunch of sense. Saplings poke from the Jace as well. If you end up eating that and you need to get back to a minion wave or a jungle camp, you're going to vamp up a lot sooner. So I actually like the adaptation. We see a lot more actually now out of pro Yones as Q. Gonna eat a little bit of damage there from Yukao, but not
Yukao
too
already
much.
does so much though,
Yeah.
even against the tankier members.
Really does. All right.
And now we're getting to a bit of a moment where RA actually have some poke, right? Strive is actually able to put down some damage onto the weaker members, but it's still now looking at the side lanes a little bit more. Hoya pushing in the inhib tower, at least in his own right, and 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the Baron for TT.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, TT haven't necessarily gotten a whole bunch done with this Baron. It's just, for now, gold. I mean, quite literally, you can see the Baron power play in the top right-hand corner, the gold. It's
We
50.
have the technology.
That's how much gold you get for doing the Baron. So, they've not found too much. Nope. Nope.
Yes. Couple the ulti's just going, you know,
Yeah.
just see what happens when you throw them out.
Yeah, they're cooking. Unfortunately.
What are they cooking?
Um,
If it's Hoya, it's some kind of Oktoberfest something.
yeah. What was that one? It's a, what are people from the free? Oh, hello.
Oh, I know what RA's trying to eat, and it's not gonna be TT today, as they get blown up in the face of it. BKR is gone. Baron buff still for 30 seconds, and this is a outer tower falling quickly to TT.
Yeah, I mean, TT, we were saying they don't really get much done with the Baron. It seems like here finally mid tier 1, maybe they can get tier 2. Yukao can threaten the flank.
And like
that could be
hearing
enough.
you talk smack, Jamada, that's all I'm seeing.
Hey, I'm trying to cast the Curse Dust into some action. All right, Mizzelle. And it's
That's
working.
what it is. That's what it is. It's working. It's working. It should be Huanfeng just clearing up a little bit more of this. And base destroyed to some extent for RA. They just have a little bit to hold on to in the inner parts. We'll see how this all worked out.
Yeah, I mean, they try and
poor
go.
BKR.
They try and go onto Hoya here. The unfortunate scenario is, as with Han,
Oh, the Ultra Shock.
you're not that tanky, and you saw how much damage comes out from Huanfeng there. I think it was almost 500 damage from the Ultra Shock laser alone, ignoring the rest of the burst damage that was laying on
They
top
do
of him.
so much damage now.
Yeah, it's not great. And, you know, we was memeing TT. Not a lot of Baron power play really going on. They ended up procuring an extra 1.8k gold in the space of about, what, less than 60 seconds? So, not bad.
Yeah. And now they're right back to the carousel fighting that we all know and love. And crazy is our game, all those hashtags, because Dragon spawning in about 35 seconds yet again. Now, this was the last time around given over to RA. They got their first Dragon. The stacking kind of stopped for TT, but it's because they were putting focus elsewhere. And now I expect TT to put full frontal aggression in the face of RA.
Absolutely, they should do. TT on item spikes here. Very, very powerful. And there's the hit.
They can get a
There's
catch
start.
out before Cube gets here. That's huge. Cube is still on the way. They don't have the damage as they can't catch him out. Now the cast comes through and the damage is there. Point and present as a beautiful being. Blade Caller does get Beichuan a little bit low. Wild Growth, the shock blast not hitting again. Strive, you gotta hit those as Cube wants to make the 1v4 happen. Here comes Huanfeng, but hammered into the dirt by by Strive, and now it's a 2v2. Hoya and Yao Yao got to be a little bit careful here. They should be able to get out with the blast cone, and Hoya gets out with his body slam over the wall.
Yeah, TT have their hand in the cookie jar here because they teleported Yukao to the top side whilst that fight was going on. Once he snapped back to the Spirit, that's where he's been the entire time. So they overcommit for Strive and Assume. They kill Assume, but they don't get Strive. He turns it around in the damage department. Luyen isn't hit, so maybe this is a little bit more of 50-50 than we think. But if Hoya goes in, he'll die. Baron spawns in 45 seconds. Is it worth giving up your life? Surely not. Surely.
Oh my god, it's so close. Oh! Hoya! You freaking monster man! As he will not make it out, but the sacrifice has been enough. And that'll be a third dragon stacked up for TT.
Can you believe it? Hoya take a bow for the steal. Picks up the third dragon for TT, and the silver lightning for RA was, you know what? They might just get the dragon. And in the end, they don't. And now TT, one away from Seoul. They broke the top side of the base. And
who's TPing here?
Cube.
Glacier Prison misses. They're still on the cube. They have a lot of damage on the tanky member here. He goes unstoppable. The Nature's Grasp has come back across. Tanked up, though, by Beichuan. And Wild goes back forward. This is a front to back here. Yukao dashing out, though. You got to be a little bit careful on the damage numbers. There's two now, though. The Blade Callers should be big, and they have taken out Beichuan. This is a nicely timed fight by RA, and they scrap themselves to a win.
There you go. You're starting to see some of the damage coming through from Assume as well on this Xayah. So much work getting done onto diving members. If you can't deal with her immediately, the feathers start to stack and the blade wall up becomes a huge problem to deal with. A massive point of pain for a short range composition like TT.
Oh god, they just want to go for the bear now too.
Oh, they're gonna go for the
If TT can do it, we can do it too.
Exactly. I mean, ultimates aren't actually there for TT right now. The issue is Hoya just stole the dragon. I'm sure he's feeling pretty good about himself.
And Huangbong is pretty big right now.
Yep.
They have to be careful. The two damage dealers are alive and well, and Yukao wants it. He's going for it. He's the tank now. As the Baron is still focused, this is split from RA. You have to choose. As now the Baron goes down, but the fight after is all TT. As they split apart the atoms of Rare Atom one by one. Your molecules are dust before TT.
Not able to stand up to the might, and TT wiped almost every member of RA off the map after picking up the Baron. Strive, the only member, actually BKR did make it as well. I take that back. But either way, losing 3 members off the back of that Baron is not where you want to be. The top inhib should be taken here, should be felled by TT, in the mid lane as well could very well be broken. This could be 2 inhibs. Maybe more if they can find a pit.
It's about to be a question of what did it cost you? Everything here for RA, as the Baron might have gone down, but TT are pushing the pace and pushing the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, all right. 2 inhibitors, really nice stuff for TT. And I mean, man, RA, they're gonna try and
Quickness pop.
Yeah.
Fate Seal blocked. You got Beichuan right behind him, though. They're bringing the rest of TT. This could be a big turnaround here. Yukao tanking up. He will go down, though, and nothing there to save him.
All right. TT not able to keep Yukao alive, unfortunately, as he overstepped just a bit to pick up that inhibitor, but still, the inhib goes down. Take a look at this fight here as a... Yeah, I mean, Assume gets knocked into Huangbong, not ideal, but they just commit for killing the Baron, and it allows Huangbong to get in the pit. Look at this mosh pit as Yukao finds so many members in the midst of it all. Hoya as well, massive body slam, and RA just cannot deal with that much damage, that much CC. They need the fights to come, you know, front for them, right? So that Assume can set up for the Blade Caller, and that the rest of the team can kind of play Peel. If the fights split up like that, it's just not going to go in their favor. And TT just pounce individually on every member that they can. Now those inhibitors broken on the top side in the mid lane, they can just go focus on the bottom side, and they should be fine.
I'm seeing that kind of 3.5 items really coming across the board here for TT in those big carry potentials, but also kind of the supporting cast as well, getting some of those item completions. And While Strive has been that point of pressure for RA, a lot of the poke coming down his way. You're starting to get to that hyper scaling nature of the Xayah. It still is about execution. That's what I love about these middle of the table clashes, where all of these wins, these series, they matter in the end of the regular season here for those standings, and we're getting that back and forth tussle here.
Always, always, always exciting, these middle of the table clashes like you mentioned. And it is a race for playoffs at the end of the day. If RA do lose this series, they'll have a couple of extra chances to try and cross the finish line. A lot of series where they can pick up wins, but TT would have to be on that list of names that you have to try and claim to make a legitimate race for the playoffs finish line. And if TT pick up this win, they can start to feel a lot more comfortable at 7, just because of how clumped up things are now away from the story.
A little bit careful here. RA look like they want to pull the trigger. Blocked up by Bates1 yet again. Glacial Prison goes wide. You've got Hoya on the back. Bates1, he gets the soul. And now TT, they want to pick apart. Hawthorne, lightning crashes. But Luyen, he's still alive. They've taken out Strive, the big damage dealer. Cube, he finds Hawthorne, but Hawthorne guns him down. And RA, they are gone. They are dusted. And there is nothing left for them here on Summoner's Rift as TT take it holistically.
Hope dissipates for RA. It's just Assume left. I mean, the health bars are quite low. This is a very peculiar dance where you can see the teleports coming in on the top side. What can Assume get done?
Look
the
at the
healing of the Warmogs.
Not enough. Ooh, does he?
Nope.
Gets a little bit back. Okay, the TT base is burning here, at least for RA. Is Asum, he gets one back, he gets two, but it doesn't matter, the game ends. And TT take a 2-0 victory.
Clean 2-0 for TT. And a very exciting way to close it out. RA, they tried their best, but they just didn't have enough in the tank. And they needed Assume to be able to have the space to get all of his damage out, and it felt like too many times he was either shut down or, quite frankly, he wasn't able to get it out at all, just because the rest of RA wasn't actually set up around him in the proper way. And TT's members step up individually again. Huangfeng and Yukao come up and show up big